Yes, well, we've been shown that product service systems clearly are unattractive in a number of dimensions for many companies. And this prompts the question, how do we identify and develop the good, promising solutions in terms of product service systems effectively and efficiently? And during this presentation, yes, I will be covering some overall considerations regarding the process of actually developing product service systems. And I will, of course, also come into these specific tools that have come out of the Proteus Consortium. And altogether really go in and try to address all these various different aspects that are critical to really get right in a profitable PSS. Yeah. So, a PSS concept. Any concept is really defined as an idea within a context. And PSS concepts really basically are these proposals for a carefully integrated chain of products and services offerings. And of course, it needs to work together. It needs to be a holistic solution that goes in and provide the elements in the best possible way to really address and solve the needs of the user and the customers. I just took one of the slides from the first conference with me. So this is the case from main truck and bus. And again, this is a case of one of the companies that actually achieved going from selling products in terms of buses and trucks to do the whole transport solution. And they also, of course, the thing about this case is that they actually took complete ownership of the products as well. So they're really all in the service. Yeah. So the process of developing a good product service system. We have identified that analysis and define, conceptualize and evaluate are 4 phases that really constitute and sums up the development process in terms of the steps you need to go through. So basically developing product service system is similar in many ways to development of normal products. We have the phases, but there are also some new ways of working and approaching the value and creation process. So if we start out with the broad analysis of market capabilities, well, it's clear that we need to understand the market, the need, and the current ecosystem to really provide a basis for where are we today and where do we want to go actually. So, define. It's important, we believe, to define the focus and set goals for the product and for the solutions. So, in this phase, it's really important that we sufficiently delimit what it is we're trying to do. So, what are the needs we really want to address? And what are the basic specifications we want to live up to when we're actually going to find the solutions and put them right together in the right way. And that leads us to the conceptualization phase. That is really my domain as engineer as well. So this is where it gets fun. We actually need to put the pieces together in the best way possible. To come together and solve the problems. Of course, at this stage, it's important to detail the different proposals for concepts and solutions to the same level ideally, and also start prototyping in order for one to be able to actually select the right concept based on hopefully systematic selection processes. So that leads us to the core of our nice little model that leads us towards the product service system in the middle. So implement and evaluate, of course, is really important. We need to start implementing the solutions, the concepts in the market, and it's important to do this in close cycles to experiment and get results back and adjust what we get out of it. And this is an opportunity that we have in product service system that we can do this because we are so close in the collaboration with the customers. A bit opposite maybe sometimes in business of traditional product manufacturing. From our observations of industrial PSS practices, the Consortium has observed that there are these 4 fundamental PSS dimensions that we need to address throughout all these phases of the development process. The first one I'm going into is the value proposition. Of course, we need to know that as a market, so this should be the starting point of any conceptualization. What is the value for different stakeholders, and how can we encapsulate them within the value proposition in order to support and develop these robust PSS concepts? The user activity cycle is really the essence of a PSS to provide the user with the need, solutions to the need as directly and efficiently as possible. And this, is really the basis. We need to understand what is important for the user and how is the journey that they go through when they actually operate in their daily days and activities. Next, offering lifecycle. This is really the catalog of the solutions that we have. So we're combining products, of course, with services. And how can we do that in the best way possible? And that takes, in order to answer that question, it really takes this in-depth knowledge of the life cycle of our products. So they go through the creation process throughout use phases. And we need to know how these interact with the ecosystem around it. And these realizations about the products and its life cycle we can use as a source for inspiration and kind of seeing opportunities in terms of solutions. Similarly, we also need to, what we call it offering and not just products, life cycle is that the services is another dimension that we need to address. And here we have models for that as well, to really understand that. So, the ecosystem. In order to function and create value, product service systems closely intervene with the stakeholders, the customer, the user, and other partners around it. And this collection of related stakeholders that influence one another, we call the ecosystem. The realization is important. Gain from the ecosystem are key to understand how the concepts that we're proposing will actually behave in the market. And also understanding the interplays within the stakeholders can lead to an understanding of how will it change over time, and possibly actually introducing the product service system itself, how will that change the ecosystem, and how can we benefit from that. So what are the right tools to apply to assist us in all these things to take care of during the product development process? Well, a lot of tools exist already out there. So we have looked at more than 100 tools, and many of them have been devised for product service system thinking, but also many of them are really adaptations of other types of tools specifically to address the needs within product service systems. So yeah, the Proteus Consortium has tested many of these out with you and as part of the student projects. And they have really we were trying to focus on what are the specific needs for the maritime industry. And not all of these needs have been addressed before, and thus, of course, we have these new tools as part of the Proteus Consortium, and some of them also have been adapted from previously to really suit the context that we are in and the reality we face. And this brings me on to the Proteus Toolbox, and I'm very proud to present these 11 tools that we actually have devised and gathered together for you to really benefit from all this knowledge that have been gained through this consortium. So we have 11 tools, and they have been handpicked basically to support the various development phases, and also at each phase cover all the 4 dimensions that I mentioned before. Starting from with A here, we have the brand new PSS audit matrix, and this is a tool by Proteus Consortium that goes in and assess your service and products in terms of modularity and complexity. And it's based on questionnaires, and once completed, it helps you to identify critical areas for improvement and to evaluate your PSS strategy and parameters to align in order to really work with the portfolio accordingly. And then we have 4 tools here, the ecosystem maps, the user activity cycle, the product life gallery, and the service blueprint. And these 4 tools are really central for product service development, and I will come back to them in a short while. In the meantime, I'll just briefly mention that the total cost of ownership chart has been adapted as it's a tool that has been adapted for the maritime industry to really assess and assist in looking at the important aspects related to PSS design in the maritime industry. So this is about really broadening up the view of the value creation to a wider spread in the value chain. The value strategy canvas is this is a known tool in by many, and it's really about visualizing the value proposition with respect to the user and their needs and the costs. And it's very appropriate to plan strategically how do we want to go ahead with our product service system, and really takes off from the user activity cycle. What are the needs actually? The PSS configurator is interesting because it actually combines the experience from the Proteus Consortium and its partners into a comprehensive catalog of already applied offerings. Similarly, product service system morphology goes in and looks at it's a bit different. It takes a step back and looks and tries to encapsulate and describe a product service system in terms of what is its anatomy. So this is a strategic tool to better understand the different aspects of a product service system that can help to really focus the strategy of it. Next we have the product service system concept evaluator, and this is a quite simple and basic tool that helps to evaluate the product service systems, these concepts that we come up with, and we need to really compare it in terms of, do we get them right? Can we do it better? The final one, design for product service system, consists one really simple tool to kind of open up and assess what are the possibilities to really go in and focus our normal product development of products. So how can we tweak basically the product to support the overall broad product service system? And this can of course be in terms of profitability, effectiveness, cost, whatever is called for. So going back to the 4 tools, we have the ecosystem map. I briefly mentioned it. This tool is really about mapping the interactions between stakeholders relevant to your company and to the product service concept that is going to enter this mess sometimes. The figure shows, this figure specifically shows the maritime network, and maybe you have seen already, many of you have, and you can actually see the full network in the workbook 1 that has been made available to you today and also previously. So these different interactions are, yeah, I'll go running out of time, going onwards. The user activity cycle is used to identify activities and associated needs. So it's really about focusing on what is important for our customers. And what we get out of doing this as a company is it opens up and it opens up new business opportunities where we go in and see what are the activities that the user does. And this model is divided into 3 parts. The first one is pre, so basically what are all the activities that the user goes through before actually using your product or your service. Then we have the during, the actual activities associated with this product or service. And of course we have the activities after in many cases. Again, this specific figure is found in workgroup 1, and this one is for a typical ship owner, where we can go in and see what is actually going on in a typical ship. Of course, this should be made for more specifically for your company and your situation, and it can actually be made very specific if that makes sense in your case. So the product life gallery. All the physical products basically go through different life cycles. So they start out by being manufactured by raw materials. There's the actual manufacturing process, and eventually they are shipped and sold to customers who actually use them. So there are all these material flows going on, and understanding them, again, sheds light to what is the product actually doing when it's out there, when it's shipped, and we don't really see it at least as engineers, and only really hear about it through service and support and all these things. So this is about mapping and really understanding. This is what we understand as engineers for the product. And this tool really allows us to share this knowledge within the company. And of course it gives rise to business opportunities when we see what is actually going on throughout this life cycle phases. Similarly, we have, as a bit of the other side of the coin, the services, of course, also have a life cycle. The service blueprint is really the hallmark of service design, and what it does is it goes in and maps the journey that the customer actually goes through when using your product or service. So, yeah. The central thing is really the customer actions, the second row from the top. And what we're interested in when we do this is to understand what are the touch points between the user actions and what we are going to do. So, do we operate with the front stage? What can the user see on the back stage? So, what do we need to provide in order to provide this seamless and very good experience for the user and actually cover and satisfy the needs during all these different activities? And of course, the tool typically spells out gaps and things like that. So all these tools, they work together and really highlights the different dimensions of a product service system. And the final one that we want to present today is one that we're very proud of. So I will hand over the microphone.
Thank you.
This is...
I will use this one.
So, take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Knud. Yeah, we're very proud to present our PSS configurator, and it's a web-based configuration tool, and it will support the PSS developer in a systematical way to conceptualize a PSS design. It has an inbuilt logic that will support the combination of different services to create a PSS package. And we've developed this tool in collaboration with a company called Raswet Interaction, and they do web-based and mobile application, and they're here among you today. I will walk you through the configurator now, but I would like to take one step back. So the last conference we presented the full portfolio of all the offerings we've observed in the industry. It's 48 offerings and 7 different channels. And what I ended the presentation with was showing different ways of combining these to create product service systems. But since then, we've looked a lot into the... am I getting out clear enough? The affinity between all the offerings. And so 48 offerings and 7 channels, it's a lot of different combinations. So we took each of these, mapped them in an Excel, and did by a few rules. We mapped the affinity of if some services would require another service, or if some were counterproductive, and in this way would not match. And the outcome is what you see here. It's the whole portfolio of all the offerings, and this is a web-based, so it's I made it into a PowerPoint presentation instead of going online to make sure everything was okay. So if we scroll over here, the condition-based maintenance, And if you keep on moving the cursor, you can go down to remote monitoring, and it will pop up like this. And if you see in the upper left corner, there's an icon. And if you press it, you can get a detailed description of each of the offerings. So you can actually use it as an inspiration to see, okay, what is out there in the industry right now as one thing. But then we can go through a configuration of making a package. So if we want to start focusing on retrofit products, we can mark this one, and what will pop up is this. So now we have the one that we selected with a full line, and then we have 8 different marked offerings with a dotted line, which is required to offer this particular offering. And then we have the gray ones, and we have the transparent ones. And if we go down in the left corner, there is a legend for you with a few hints of the interpretation of the meaning of the different offerings. So it's the one you selected, the required one, the recommended, and available ones, and not recommended. Let's close down that one. So now we choose retrofit products, and you can see for that one to make sense, you also need some product manuals, technical documentation, and so on. And you also need to be out there at the customer in some way to install it. And there's by service squad or service partnerships. And if we continue configuring and choosing maybe take-back systems, and we select that one, you can see that there will appear new suggestions and also required ones. For example, the delivery, which will make the system full. And furthermore, for example, installation consultancy, you could also take that one. And if you think that your company is capable of it, you can choose the management of maintenance. You could take over the whole responsibility, or just the plant overhaul, as in Rolls-Royce case. And if you don't know what it means, you can get the information again, and you can do this throughout the whole configuration. And what also is offered here as information, you can see down here, is a bar, pie chart diagram, which is showing exactly this package you choose, how it's supporting the different phases of the user activity cycle. So here, as Knud also talked about, so it's pre, during, and post usage of the product. So like in this case, it would be 59% is actually supporting directly in the use phase. And if we close that one down, we can also see here down, you can follow how you add on during the configuration of supporting the different phases. And we can finally make a report. So we press the button up on the right, the top corner, and you will get a picture and a compilation of the package you just made. So by doing this multiple times, you'll actually get a PSS concept pool. You can save them, and you can email, in this case, you can email it and get it back. And we've put up, that's the last thing I would like to say, we put up a computer outside so you can try it out, and you can go online and do some product service system conceptualization. And yeah, that was a short walkthrough. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Just summing up, this is really the PSS conceptualization framework, where we have gathered all the things I basically mentioned throughout the presentation. So we have the four phases, the rings going in and trying to zoom in onto a product service system, and of course the dimensions in each ring. And we can see all these different tools, they fit in various places of this kind of framework. For instance, we have the configurator. It's marked with the H, and it says it makes sense in the conceptualization phase, and it really addresses the value proposition. And so on, we can apply other tools depending on where we are standing in the process of developing our product service systems. So, but everything that we talked about in this presentation, of course, is documented in the books. And what I've talked about is is in book 4. So eventually you will be able to get your hands on this 4th book, and I hope you will really enjoy it. There are some really good tools and also guidance to how to apply them and how do they relate to each other. So there's a way to do it, a step-by-step process, but maybe probably it makes more sense for you to go in and try to make your own process. But we'll get back to that. Thank you very much and enjoy your lunch.